Hello everybody, welcome back to Saturday Heroes here on Tradition Forums and last call for alcohol people. I am your host Bama Grad as I bring to you tonight a little different version tonight as we're going to kind of flip it around here tonight with different stuff. But just want to kind of let you know. I tell you, trying to bring you week to week scores and schedules and all this and all that type of thing. I tell you, it's just been tough these past 2 seasons, mostly because the advance has just been hitting me harder than anything. So I'm just going to go completely off base here tonight as we look at the coaching carousel as we're looking at it right now. As really, if you look at it, we may be looking at changes going into the coaching carousel going into next season. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities for other people to kind of move up, and I think that's going to be a real plus for the league. So it should be fun. Kind of get going here with our first um, guy here tonight. Uh, the only head coach in the only head coach right now, as a head coach in the league right now, and that's Wake Forest. As head coach, Ryan Dierks is the head coach of Wake Forest. As he became the first head coach of Saturday Heroes, as he decided to take over the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, and so far he's done very well with that team. They're currently 7-4, going up against 8-3 Maryland tonight, I assume, for another shot at the ACC. And so far he signed a 3-year deal with Wake Forest, and so far it's done pretty well. Right now he is currently 65% in his contract right now, which is good. He is 1 win away from making 8 wins in a season. He's already filled the team needs for this year, and that's good. That's going to be a big help. Win 75% of your rivalry games each season. He's at 100% right now, so he's done very well with that. Finished 6th or better in the conference. Currently, right now, he's 4th in the conference, and that's not bad either. Especially taking over a Wake Forest team that probably had a lot of young talent on that team, as he tries to really get that team turned around to his mold and how he wants them and that type of thing. So it should be interesting. Really, the two heavy hitters on the contract really are the finish 6th or better of your contract, and then of course the big one, finish each season in the BCS Top 100. Right now he's currently 43rd in the conference, and actually he's 43rd in the BCS Top 100, and that is a major stew on his contract right now. He needs to do well the next 2 years in order to raise that. Because if you miss any of your heavy hitters, that does affect your contract level heavily. That difference between being in the green and being in the red, that is huge. So, and he's already met 3 goals for the one season. He's won 6 games. He's won 4 games, and he's already beaten a rival opponent. So he's already done well in his first year as head coach. So I think Wake Forest made the right move in getting Dierks as their head coach, as he's really proven himself really well with the new team. Right now, there's only 3 guys right now in the red. Right now, there's 3 guys in the red right now in the ACC, and that's Clemson's Dabo Swinney. Right now, he's currently 10%, and he has another year left but I seriously doubt that Clemson's going to keep him for next. I think he will be fired at the end of the year. He has 7 goals in progress, and dating back to last season, he had 5 failures on his job. 3 of those were big hitters. Needed those, and he did not do them. So Dabo Swinney may be a casualty of war, so to say, at Clemson right now. Right now, he's currently 10%. He is definitely in the red right now. As if Clemson keeps him for his contract, which would be his contract year would be next year. Currently, he's also 9-13 as head coach of Clemson. Not great numbers there. And Frank Beamer, he is currently in the red also. He has another year on his deal. Right now, he's currently 37%, so not good. You never want to be in the red. I can guarantee you that right now. He's has 5 goals in progress for this season. He's met 4 of those goals from last season, but he also has 6 failures on his contract also. So, and one of them was a big hitter, which was finished 5th or better in the conference. He failed that goal. So, but I seriously don't think they will can Beamer. I think they may keep him around for his contract year. Another coach on the hot seat right now is Mike London of Virginia. He is currently 9-14 in his going in his second year at Virginia. He's in his second year of a 3-year deal. But right now things are not going well for him. He is just been a tough ride there at Virginia. So far, he has 5 goals in progress. 2 goals he has met, and he's also failed 4 of them. 2 of them are big hitters. So it's hard to say how the coaching carousel will happen when this is all said and done. And then you have plenty of coaches in the yellow, I will say. That includes our man Dirks, and then there's 4 guys in the green. That's Boston College, Maryland, NC State, and Miami. As those guys have done the job there. So we'll see what happens from there. Moving on to the Big East, we really have James Salas, aka CA, control abuser. Right now, he is the defensive coordinator of Syracuse Orange. And right now he has 78% of his, and he signed, before I get in, he signed a 2-year deal to go to Syracuse as he moves from Louisiana Tech to Syracuse. His big hope is to go to LSU. So, and to the point when he made this deal, I was a little surprised, but he said he wanted to try out the carousel and see how it goes. Like you said, his main goal is to get back to the SEC and LSU. That's his big hope right now. So we'll see where he goes from there. Right now, he's currently 78% in the Big East right now. One of his goals was 1+ defensive touchdown each season. He's got 6 right now. And then he's got 3 big hitters. He has to be under 3,200 passing yards each season. He needs 22 sacks. He's got 38. And under 2,200 rushing yards each season. He's whipping that in shape right now, so I think he'll make it. But he did incur a penalty losing to a lower-ranked team, so that does affect your position in the. That does affect your job security a bit. So when you get those, there's positives and negatives. Positive is if you beat a higher ranked team, and the negative is if you lose to a lower ranked team. So you got to be on your balls in this game this year. He has 4 goals met. Those were from this season, which he's done very well. Overall, Syracuse has struggled this year, but so far he's done very well. There's only, let's see, only one guy in the red. That's Greg Schiano of Rutgers. He's at 39%. He's contract year. This is his year right now, so we'll just have to see what will become of this once the season is done. He still has a lot of homework to do if he wants to salvage his job at Rutgers right now, which is not looking good for him right now. So we'll have to see what goes from there. But head coach Doug Marrone of Syracuse right now is currently 50% of the Orange. His career record is 8-8, so not bad. And this is his contract year right now. So the big question will be, will Syracuse extend his contract or would they look for somebody else? I think personally, just depends on how the season ends, whether they keep him or look for somebody else. And then kind of going on with the rest of the teams. You got two guys in the green, that's Connecticut and Pittsburgh. And then you got one guy, Cincinnati, who's got the worst record in the league right now, 5-16. That's Butch Jones of Cincinnati, but he's got another year left on his deal, so I don't think he'll be going anywhere. And then one red spot for on the offensive side, that's Big East, that is Frank Cignetti, the offensive coordinator at Rutgers. He's currently in the red at 47%, so we'll just have to see what goes from there. But right now, Salas is kicking ass at Syracuse right now, really raising his scores up well and all that type of thing. Then we move on to Conference USA. What can you say? But we'll start off with Marshall, who is doing very well. Their head coach, Doc Holliday. Right now, he is currently 8-7 as the head coach of Marshall. He's in the second year of his 3-year deal, so should be interesting. And then users in the conference, you got Vols, who is the offensive coordinator. He is currently 51%. He is one more year away from his contract deal, but we'll just have to see what happens with the conference right now. So far, he's pretty much met his goals. He's only got one goal left to meet. That is win 8 games in one season. So far, he's won 6. So it'll be interesting to see what happens the rest of the year. He's got 2 big hitters, which he's passed already. The only one he doesn't have right now that's a big hitter that could affect his job security is the 55% pass completions over the entire contract. So he's got a chance for next year to raise that up to raise his score up more. He's met 2 of his goals, and so that's very good. So we hope the best for Vols. And then you got 2 guys in the green, sitting pretty in green. That is Southern Miss and Coach Forever, the offensive coordinator of Southern Miss, and he has just lit the fire with Southern Miss right now. Southern Miss has just dominated this league right now, making his head coach look very good. This is his contract year. No doubt they will be extending his deal next season, as he is currently 9-3 in his career. So very well done there. I think it probably needs to be more, but we'll see from there. And then we have Rice, who is currently 1-10 as a team right now. But Coach Simi has proven that he can do the job, as he is currently 75%. He only had 2 goals this season. One was to win 4 games in 1 year. He has not done that. He only has 1 win. And under 2,200 rushing yards in each season. So far, he's done very well. He's at 1437. He's met 4 of his goals right now, which is very good. And then he also has 2 failures. He failed to get 22 sacks in 1 season, and was under and also allowed over 3,200 passing yards. So those two are looking at him straight in the face. So, but I think he's got a good chance to move on. As he stated in his press conference earlier, he is done with Rice and the very lack of talent with that group. I think a lot of people expected more from Rice, especially with getting Michigan transfer Sam McGuffey as their running back, and things are just not really worked out. Uh, you could just see the frustration every week with Coach Simi on the TV monitors and stuff. It's just been a rough year. I'll put it this way: it's been a rough 2 years for Rice, as no doubt that right now their head coach David Bailoff, is at 52% on his deal. He's got one more year left. He's currently 3-13 in his career at Rice. That's not going to help you out any at all. But who else are they going to get at their position right now? So and then two guys in the green, someone Houston and Southern Miss. What you can expect when you have Forever 97 as your offensive front area, you're going to be tearing it up in that spot. So great job there, guys. And then over in the independent, the only independent user, which is our commissioner, Hag Golfer. He is currently the offensive coordinator of Army, as he wanted to take on the challenge of using the triple option attack. And I'll tell you, all he did last season was make his head coach, Rich Ellerson, look fantastic. So much that Army extended a 3-year deal for Coach Ellerson, whose career record is 8-6 right now. So not bad. Really not bad at all. And then you got Hag Golfer, who currently is 69%. He's got a year left on his deal. The big question is, will he remain at Army or will he move on? That is the big question right now with the team. Right now, he's got 3 goals in progress. Pretty much, he's slammed them in. He has dominated those goals this year. He's met 5 of them from last season, as he just has done the job as offensive coordinator. He has no fails. So fantastic job, Hack, in turning Army around. Now, the only thing you got to worry about is can you get that beloved Commander-in-Chief's trophy? As last year you had a chance, as tough break last year when you got absolutely blitzed by Navy. I think Navy is going to be, of course, Navy is always a tough team to deal with, but I think you have a good chance to get that Commander-in-Chief's trophy, which is a big plus for the academy. I think it can be done, so we'll just have to see what goes from there. And of course, he does have the next week. He does have his big game against Army and Navy. Currently, Army is 8-3, as they are just doing the job this year. They have absolutely dominated. And tough break is they lost to Air Force 21-18. So, and then on the flip side, Navy also lost to Air Force. So that completely takes out the Commander-in-Chief, hope for the Commander-in-Chief's trophy to come to Army, as our Air Force takes it again. But now they just have to. Our Navy will be coming into the game 5-5. They just came off a humiliating loss to Alabama, 37-13. So no doubt they're hoping to go in there and possibly pull the upset on Army and shrink there and finish the season at 6-5. Army, on the other hand, I think they're looking to win out. Their only hiccups this year losing to Northern Illinois 27-3, losing to Wake Forest 27-24. Tough game there, and then of course losing to Air Force 21-18 for the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy. So, and then right now he's currently on a 2-game winning streak, beating Rice and UAB. So now the big one is against Navy. So I tell you, it's getting exciting as we are getting to the point of where will everybody end up, guesses, all that type thing. It will be interesting to see what does happen with this carousel. Moving on, the MAC conference, as we have 2 users in that. We have Radio, the offensive coordinator of Ohio, and then Temple, who is led by defensive coordinator Rembert, who Temple, shockingly, last year had a good year. But then for some reason, the school decided not to go to a bowl game. So that was kind of unusual. So Rembert's in his contract year this year. Right now he's currently 72%. He has 2 goals in progress. He has hit 6 of them already. So very fantastic job there. And he has no failures. So I think he'll be moving on to a different school by next season. No doubt. He's deserved it. And then Radio, 51% offensive coordinator at Ohio, as right now Ohio really up and down, tough year. Right now their head coach Frank Solich currently 6-7, 71% right now with his job, and then of course Steve Adazio with Temple currently 7-7 with his job. He is also in his contract year at Temple, so it'll be interesting how Temple goes in this, whether they will keep him or move on. So it will be interesting. Solich, also, he's got another year left after this, so it'll be interesting what goes from there as we move on. And then, of course, the Mountain West, we have 3 users out there. We have Bob Jr., who took over the offensive coordinator job, went from North Texas to the North Texas to the Greens of Hawaii, and right now he's currently 67%. He signed a 1-year deal coming in. And so far he's at 67%, sitting in yellow. And he's met 7 of his goals. Fantastic job there. And the only other one that could affect his contract is he has to complete 55% pass completions over the entire contract. Right now he's currently at 45%. So, and he also needs to win 8 games in 1 season. He's currently at 5. So we'll just have to see what happens here with Hawaii. But I think they'll probably extend his deal. I'll be very surprised if they get rid of him because of that. So I think Bob is in Hawaii for another year or 3. And then you got Tracy T2 out in Fresno State, offensive coordinator of the Bulldogs. And so far, he's dominated his stats. The only one still up in the air is that 55% pass completions over the entire contract. He is currently at 52% right now, so he has a chance to salvage that. Win 8 games in 1 season. So far, he's at 4. So that might be a mark on his record. He has 2 goals he's already met, which is very good. And then he's dominated all the other stats. So that's the only hiccup on his deal right now is the 55% over the entire contract. So, but he also has another year left on his deal. The big question is, will Tracy T2 stay at Fresno, or will he move on? So it's just a matter of where the job is going to currently take him right now. And then, of course, Colorado State has Fairchild right now, the head coach of that team. Right now, it's currently 10-12. He's in his contract year. He's at currently 73% in his deal, as he's met 5 of his goals. He has 8 in progress right now, so he still needs to finish strong in order to complete a good year. And having a defensive coordinator such as is Mike, very good job. 92%. He's in his contract year, no doubt. He will be moving on to better pastures. He's already met 6 of his goals. He's got 3 goals in progress. The only one that is not looking good right now is 1+ defensive touchdown each season. Currently, he's at 0. So he'll need maybe this week, next week, just depends on when his schedule ends. He'll still need a defensive TD, get that 1, so he doesn't get a notch in the fail mark. But either way, I think he'll be moving on to a better job next season, no doubt. As we move on, and that of course comes to me in the SEC. Right now, Kentucky is currently 6-4. We've pulled some upsets this year, which has been pretty. And then we just got lamb blasted by Georgia in the last game. Nothing we could do in that game. It was horrible. Right now, I'm also in my contract year with the team as defensive coordinator. I've met 3 of my goals already. We've won 4 games this season. We have 5+ interceptions in 1 year. We met that goal after the first 2 games of the year. That's how good this team defensively is. The only problem is, can the offense be consistent enough to give us those opportunities to keep our defense off the field so they can rest? Because I can tell you, if an offense continuously goes 3 and out, 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 that's going to wear your defense out. That game against Georgia, most of the game, my defense guys were literally in either yellow or red because they were just getting no rest. There was a couple of times I just had to sub in the second team defense so my first team defense could get some air. That's how horrible it went in that game. So, and then we also met the 3+ fumble recoveries in 1 year. And right now, we still need to win 8 games in 1 year. Right now, we're currently at 6. So we have a chance to beat Tennessee, get our 7th win, hope for a bowl bid. And if we get it, then we go for number 8. So that will be very good. Right now, we need 27 sacks in 1 season. Currently, we're at 21. So we need 5 more sacks, or actually 6 more sacks in order to meet the goal. 15 interceptions in 1 year. Right now, we're 3 short of that, no doubt. I think we should be able to get that. Our cornerbacks are just been ball hogs this year. They've just been everywhere this year. Right now, we're not going to get the under 2,800 games we've played. We've really taken on some tough passing teams, and they have just shredded us to death. And so it'll be interesting how the rest of this year goes as we try to finish strong. And then and so there kind of ends out that section. So really the big question is who's staying, who's going. That's the big question in the thing. I can tell you the guys that I may be iffy on for possibly moving on. Right now, my sure bets of moving on is Coach Forever. I'll be surprised if he remains at Southern Miss his entire 4-year deal. 4-year deal, that was huge. And then he just shredded. He really just literally shredded everything that first year. And he's doing the same thing again this year. After a tough start, he's really turned it around with that offense. And then And then no doubt Coach Simi, he's also in green. He'll move on. Coach Salas, he has another year left at Syracuse. Big question with him is, will he stay or will he move on? And then, of course, Coach Webb over at Colorado State, defensive coordinator. I think he'll be moving on from Colorado State unless he really wants to be there, and as he has reached his contract year this year. So the big question is, will he accept an extension or will he move on? That's the big question. And and then Rembert, Coach Rembert of Temple, I think he'll move on. I think he's pretty much done with the Owls of Temple. I think he wants to get to better pastures. So we'll just have to see what happens there. Myself, I'm at 70% as the defensive coordinator of Kentucky. Big question is, will they bring me back as the defensive coordinator of Kentucky? That's the big question going into the carousel for next season. It'll be interesting. So we'll have to see what goes from there. Coach Hack, offensive coordinator of Army, 69%. He has another year left on his deal. I think personally he'll move on, unless he really wants to stay at Army. But I think he really wants to move on to a better team, get some better recruits, and move this carousel along. I think everybody wants to move the carousel along a bit. I'll tell you, I was surprised that one last season I was in the running for running for two jobs: Kentucky defensive coordinator job and the Mississippi State defensive coordinator job. Mississippi State job went to somebody else, so Kentucky offered their contract to me. I took it, and so far we've done pretty well. 6-4 right now. Offense just has to get better. Offense cannot just have this game in which they just sit on their ass and hope defense can bail them out, because it is not going to happen. Defense can only be on the field so many times in the game, and the offense really needs to help the defense out in order to give them the rest they need. And then Coach Tracy, Fresno State, 68%. I think he may move on. He's got another year left on his deal at Fresno State, but I think he'll probably move on. And then Coach Bob Jr. over at Hawaii, offensive coordinator. My guess is he'll either take the extension or he'll move on from Hawaii. So we'll have to see from there how that goes. I think he and I were the only ones to get one-year deals when we went to our new schools. The only one that got longer, well, of course, with head coach Dierks of Wake Forest. He got a 3-year deal. Of course, like I said before, he is the first head coach of Saturday Heroes to get a coaching position. So major ups for him, as right now he's doing pretty well right now as head coach of Wake Forest, getting that team turned around. And Coach Radio, offensive coordinator of Ohio. It'll be interesting to see what job he gets in the offseason, but I think even though he's got a year left, I think he'll move on too. And then Coach Vols of Marshall, he also has another year left on his deal. I think he'll move on too. So really, it's just a matter of guesses and predictions, and kind of just see what goes from there. It will be interesting to see what does happen as this thing moves on, as we get closer and closer towards the end of the year, as we bring out the bowl projections. As be interesting. I'm just going to announce all bowls. It'll be easier. That way we kind of go from there. New Mexico Bowl. And just to remind you people, these are subject to change every week until after championship week. Big surprise here, New Mexico Bowl. South Carolina, who's currently 4-6 in the SEC, against Florida State, who is currently 5-6 in the ACC. Florida State has the worst conference record. They're currently 1-6. That does not look out to be a very good game. Uh, the only advantage for Florida State would be the fact that they're A in defensive rating. They are averaging 21 points a game, which is 2 points better than South Carolina, and their defense. Uh, Everything else is on the good side for South Carolina. They dominate total offense, rushing offense, passing offense, total defense, rushing defense, passing defense. The only thing that doesn't look good is their -7 turnover ratio. So, but we'll have to see what goes from there. The Beef O'Brady's Bowl game would put two Florida teams against each other, Central Florida and South Florida. Central Florida currently 9-2, and South Florida 8-2. So that would be a really interesting matchup there. New Orleans Bowl would get Tulsa against currently right now Arkansas State, who holds the top spot in the Sun Belt at 6-1 in conference record, 6-4 overall against Tulsa, 7-4. So that would be a good matchup. Las Vegas Bowl would get Washington, who is 5-5 on the year right now, against 8-2 Boise State. And Connecticut and Air Force would battle in the Poinsettia Bowl, 5-5 versus 7-3. Hawaii Bowl would get Tulane against UCLA, 6-5 Tulane, 5-6 UCLA, depending on their end of the year battle against USC. So UCLA, if they lose, they're out. If they win, then they're 6-6, and I think the bowl's set. Then would come the Little Caesars Pizza Bowl, would be Michigan at 7-4 against Ohio, who is currently 7-4, 6-1 in their conference. That looks like to be a very tough matchup for the coaching staff of Ohio, as we saw how much trouble that small offensive line had against Kentucky. How well would they do against the big line of Michigan? And then the Belk Bowl would put Miami against TCU, and then the Kraft Fight Hunger Bowl would put North Carolina and North Texas, and then possibly Kentucky would get the Music City Bowl there in Tennessee against Option Attack Georgia Tech. So that would be a very interesting matchup there if that holds true. Independence Bowl will get Louisiana Monroe against Clemson, so that would be a good matchup. Military Bowl would get Western Michigan against 5-5 Navy. The Champs Sports Bowl would get West Virginia against West Virginia, who's 8-2 of the Big East, and against Maryland, 8-3 of the ACC. So we'll have to see how the bowls really work out. Humanitarian Bowl would get Central Michigan against Rutgers. Holiday Bowl would get Oregon against Texas Tech. Passing offense of Texas Tech versus the pass/run of Oregon. And then Sun Bowl would get USC and Wake Forest. So Coach Dierks would get the Trojans of USC in the Sun Bowl. That would be interesting. Marshall fighting for their playoff life right now, bowl life right now. They would get the Armed Forces Bowl as they would battle BYU. That would be an interesting battle there. Independent versus the MAC, I think. Yeah, MAC. No, not the MAC. Conference USA. AutoZone, the Liberty Bowl, would get Pittsburgh against SMU. SMU 10-1 on the year, and this is a team that put up 80 points against Rice earlier in the year. So, needless to say, how the year has gone for Rice. You give up 80 points to SMU, you're not stopping anybody. And then you would have the Texas Bowl. You would get Ohio State Buckeyes against Army at 8-3. Currently, they could have could be 9-3 heading into this bowl. But as I said before, this is subject to change, so I would not pencil in that bowl game yet. It could get moved. Texas would get Michigan State in the Inside.com Bowl. And then Chick-fil-A Bowl, aka Peach Bowl, would get Tennessee against Virginia Tech. Arkansas and Illinois would battle in the Outback Bowl. Georgia and Wisconsin would get the Capital One Bowl. And then the Gator Bowl would get LSU against Penn State. And the Ticket City Bowl would get Southern Miss against Northwestern. So that would be an interesting battle, as Big Ten would battle Coach Forever and the rest of the club there, Conference USA, is Southern Miss. And then the Rose Bowl, we get Iowa and Oregon State. Be a good matchup there. The Sugar Bowl, we get Auburn and Oklahoma. Alamo Bowl, we get Iowa State and Utah. Orange Bowl, we get Boston College and Stanford. The Fiesta Bowl, we get Nevada against Nebraska. And then GoDaddy.com Bowl, we get Miami University versus Troy again for the second year in a row. That holds true. My old team, Troy, as they've done well. 9-2 this year. They only had 2 hiccups in the schedule, losing to Texas Tech and then Arkansas State. They've beaten everybody else, including a 55-0 slaughter of Middle Tennessee State. And then they take on Western Kentucky to finish out the year. But that would be interesting if Miami U and Troy met up again. And then AT&T Cotton Bowl would put Mississippi State against Texas A&M. The BBVA Compass Bowl, Notre Dame, Northern Illinois. And then the BCS Game for It All would put Oklahoma State against Alabama. And Bama still has their big game, the Iron Bowl against Auburn. And hopefully the chance to go to the SEC Championship and make it into the game against possibly Oklahoma State, who still has 2 games left on their schedule. They have Texas Tech, and then the big one against Oklahoma to finish out the year. So a lot of changes still left to be made on this schedule, but I think it can be done. But other than that, gentlemen, hope you've enjoyed the show tonight as we've kind of flipped it around here, as we've done the job we needed to do, as we are nearing the end of another season. Congrats to everybody on a great year again, as we head towards week 14. We're in week 14 now. Advances tomorrow. Then we get on to week 15, and then after that, then all the bowl games, and then comes the big one against the coaching carousel. So a lot of questions still left to be answered. Who's going where, who's going what, all that type of thing. Other than that, I think it'll be a great off season going into this year. So everybody, hope you've enjoyed it here tonight. It's been my pleasure to bring you tonight's last call. As I like to say, pop one for me, gentlemen. Have a good night.